Hey everybody, I'm Erica. I'm a real estate agent with BRIX Real Estate. Thank you for joining me on I Heart Minneapolis Homes, which happens to be the name of my website. Feel free to check it out if you're thinking about buying or selling. So I wanted to make another video for my buyers because right now in February 2021, as I make this, it's a full-on seller's market, especially in the suburban Twin Cities area, single family homes. And so I want to go through and talk to you about how you're going to win when you're up against multiple offers and it's highly competitive. It's been like this for a long time. In fact, it's just gotten even more intense recently. And so while you may have your crystal ball, assuming the bubble is about to burst and you're going to be able to buy up properties at really cheap, let's just go off the assumption it's going to be in this situation for some time, so you can think about how you're going to stand out if you're thinking about purchasing a property in this type of market. And so lots of things we can go over. The first one is educating yourself on the market, and this is where, of course, having a real estate agent to help you is going to be incredibly important, because you're going to want to know days on market for the type of home you're purchasing. I mean, are they selling in hours, weeks, days? Keep that in mind. It's going to matter. The type of property changes that as well. Knowing these things will tell you, and that's why I just right away, when people call me and say they want to buy a house, it's like, okay, patience, number one, huge factor. Number two, when you see one you think is the one, we book it. We get out there, we're going. When people tell me, hey, I want to see a house in a week, I just have to say very honestly, it's probably not going to be around by then. And if it is, then, kind of what's maybe even going on. And I hate to say that after 1 week on market. So the second thing I want you to think about is being accommodating to sellers. So for example, if you see a wine fridge that you think is super cute and you want that, do you need to really include that in the purchase, or could you just pick up one from Menards? So being mindful of the more demands you're putting on your seller, the more likely they're going to choose somebody that they perceive as more accommodating or more willing to work with them. Get your real estate agent to find out, why are they moving? When are they moving? Is the sale of their house contingent on something? Can you be, flexible with their timeline of their closing? Just whatever it might be. I mean, sometimes we can't get very much information. It's just almost kind of like a not our business, and we just write the offer that the best we can. So leading to that, write your highest and best offer. You may remember how things were in 2008-09. That's not our current market in 2021. And so we have to let go of some of those old feelings. It's okay to still do what we call a CMA, which means we look at the comps in the area and see what it should sell for, because we can still run into appraisal issues if you're not a cash buyer. So when we're in multiple offers, we want to sit and think through where are we comfortable, is what I'm trying to say here. Where are we comfortable? If we lose the offer, are we going to be kicking ourselves because we didn't offer $2,000 more? Or we could have chosen a different closing date and we did it more for ourselves than the seller. So we're trying to give the seller as much as we can within reason. And that could be like a rent back agreement, okay? Like if the seller needs to buy another house, maybe you close on this house and then you rent it back to them so they can build in some time to find their own property, especially in this market. But whatever you're offering, you're always stepping back and saying, not that you want to max yourself out. I don't ever mean to tell my buyers that, but rather, where are you comfortable and I don't want you to kick yourself tomorrow when I say you lost the offer or you lost the house, and then you think, oh, well, why didn't I offer another $5,000? Because in the mortgage world, this could be the difference of a very small amount of money that you could still afford and be comfortable with. Number 4, let's talk about earnest money. Have some skin in the game, as we say. You may not have the money to do that, and so we need to respect wherever you are financially. However, 1% is the standard. It can go above, and the more you are willing to put in for earnest money, the stronger, meaning more financially secure you appear to the seller. Now, this isn't going to matter to everybody, but coming in less than 1% of the purchase price may negatively impact you. Again, think about who you're up against. If you only have $500 and the other person's doing $5,000, who looks like they're more financially prepared to purchase the house. And so it's going to create that confidence for the seller. And if not the seller, the agent, if they're experienced, they're going to understand that. All right, number 5, using appropriate deadlines in your offer. And what I mean is that there are oftentimes these multiples, and sometimes people will think, well, I'm not going to give them very much time, and then that'll put the pressure on them. I haven't yet seen that work out in the recent past. When I think about a house I was helping sell recently and they put a time limit on us, I think it actually just made my seller upset. Now, it still worked out for the buyer, to be honest. It was just a coincidence. It wasn't the timed offer component that was motivating. In fact, I think it irritated him more that he was being forced to make a decision quickly. And so he literally just wrote it off. So you don't know the personality on the other side. And so that's what you always have to consider if you're going to do some sort of timed offer. It might just be better to let them make their own decisions on their own time. We already talked about number 6, about like the wine cooler example. Be careful about asking too much. If you love the house, focus on the house. 7, have strong financing terms, meaning use a reputable lender. Use somebody that is actually giving you a pre-approval, not a pre-qual letter, pre-qualification. Sellers are not going to look at your offer in a multiple offer situation if you don't have really basic things put together. So when I get a lot of pressure from my buyers to submit offers without pre-approval letters, I'm just sort of like, if I'm being honest, I'm thinking that we're sort of wasting our time. So until you have that pre-approval letter, your offer doesn't mean very much right now in this market. 8, you might want to think about writing a letter to your sellers. I used to call it a love letter. It's just saying, what do you love about the neighborhood, the house? What is it that's driving you to want this house so badly? Real estate agents are supposed to show those letters. That's their obligation as doing their job. But that said, people aren't always going to do that. So it could be a waste of time. You could meet a seller who's an investor and they're not emotionally attached. So they're not going to care that you have 2 dogs and 5 kids and want the house really bad because it's in a particular school district. That doesn't mean anything to them. They might just be looking at the bottom line of the dollars. However, there are people that are very emotional about their homes. They've lived there for a long time, and it's going to mean a lot to them to sell to a vet, to sell to a dog owner, to sell to somebody with children. But those things can also be held against you. So we always have to kind of weigh the pros and cons when we send those love letters. Number 9, an escalation clause. I've written tons of offers with escalation clause. Some of my buyers absolutely love them because it gives you like kind of a window of an offer. If you think of buying a house as a silent auction, I'm not allowed to know what the other buyers are offering. The seller is not going to tell me even if they know. And the other question I can never answer is when people lose. They say, well, what did I lose to? You won't know until it closes. They're not going to disclose that information to me, nor should they. So an escalation clause is where you say you're going to go, let's say you cap it. Let's say it's a $260,000 house. You'll go up to 270 and then, or you'll beat somebody by 270 and you'll go 1,000 above. And so you'll go up to 271 or something like that. And then if nobody goes that high against you, you can still get it for the lesser price. So if you do want to do an escalation clause, I can walk you through that process a little bit slower than what I just tried to there. But if you are interested, it's a great way to sometimes save money as the buyer, but also win in multiple offers. However, lately people haven't really been liking them. So again, I'm seeing people write like, don't use them. So everything is individual. And the last 10 is trying to keep your contingencies to a minimum. Of course, you're probably going to want an inspection contingency, maybe an appraisal contingency, and definitely a financing contingency. It's okay. Definitely it's okay to leave room so that as a buyer, you can get out of contract if it's not the right fit. just try to keep it to a minimal. It's a very hard market to have a house to sell, to buy. You have to think about that wisely if you're in that situation, how you're going to navigate this. Honestly, if you need closing costs, this is going to be a challenging market to win when you have significant closing costs being requested. So you're definitely going to want to go above your purchase price or listing price to offset that. So anyway, I've got lots of other tips and tricks that could help you win in a multiple offer situation, but I've gone long enough. I appreciate if you've stuck with me all the way to the end. If there's anything I can do to help you win in a multiple offer situation, please don't resist contacting me, and we can sit down, have coffee, go over the home buying process, go over all of these options, because when you've never done it before, even these 10 things I've given you is probably a little overwhelming. And like I said, I have a couple of other tricks up my sleeve to help you potentially win the perfect house. Hope this finds you well. Thank you.